Okay, so while waiting for generally the people who want to watch this podcast, uh, I don't know. We gotta check if we're already live and streaming. Live streaming. There we go. Oh, someone has already commented. Manuel, magandang araw. Magandang gabi rather. It's almost 6:30 in the Philippines right now for our international viewers or OFWs. Hello, Andre Divina. So in case you're wondering, well, so far for this week, we haven't done much in the past week with regards to tech, but if you're a fellow gamer like me, you know that today is a very monumental day for gamers. I don't know if you'll see this. It's the pre-order shirt for Monster Hunter World. Basically, I got a copy of Monster Hunter World earlier for my PS4 Pro, and if you're also playing, do add me. Do tell me your PSN ID so I can add you later and we'll party. I'm just around doing 3 stars and 4-star missions at the moment. It's still pretty early in the game. Hi Renz. Hi Charchit. Okay, now we have 10 people watching. In a few I will be starting, which is exactly 6:30. So for the meantime, if you have any questions or whatsoever, feel free to ask me anything regarding regarding tech. As for other issues in your life, I don't know if I can answer that, but please do so. We still have around 4 minutes before I officially start the stream. Braun 2x23. Hello. Gandang gabi sa'yo. Wait, I gotta change something. Select language. Event is live. Okay. There we go. Yo. Janine. Sino si Janine Renz? Okay, 12 people. Wait lang. I gotta share this to our Facebook page. So if you haven't liked our Facebook page yet, and in case you didn't know, we have a Facebook page, and we post all our stuff there too, especially the news. As for our YouTube, it's where our reviews, comparisons, and whatever sort of video gets uploaded to. Okay, here we go. And we're live. Okay, that was just an expression. Okay. Hi there, Manila Shaker. I'm your biggest fan. Love all of your reviews. Hi, Teddy. Thank you for following us, and thank you for being our biggest fan at the moment. Well, for our reviews, I can't say much. What we're about to release the following week. So, what do you think of the Samsung S9 variable aperture? Well, it should be that way, to be honest. Since wait, what do they mean by the variable aperture? I'm quite confused with that, because the aperture in the phone itself is, oh, I get it now. Well, my initial reaction over it was well, it was really needed for the flagship market, considering that some phones do perform better in daylight and some perform better in low light. And when a manufacturer is pressed to do the well, they were pressed to do the latter last year. Like we're seeing f1.6, f1.7 apertures off of the main camera, and even the front facing camera for selfies. So yeah, it's not going to shake up the market that much, but you can expect that it would bring difference. And when it matures or when it becomes widely accepted, it would transfer down or trickle down to the mid-range and even the budget smartphones when the manufacturers will feel like doing it. So, nagre-review po ba kayo ng mga laptop? Yes, yes. And regarding laptop, we have one here. I have one here that is under review. Hopefully next week mailabas ko yung video nito. This is from Asus. I gotta check. It's a ROG Strix laptop. As you can see, it's a GL503V, one with an i7 7700 HQ and GTX 1050 for as your dedicated GPU. Yeah. Meron bang Acer Chromebook 14? Last I checked, I've only seen LG's Chromebooks. And your best bet for looking for a Chromebook is going to Mega Mall, to be honest. Marami kang options dun. Saan ba kayo bumibili ng mga OnePlus phones? Well, usually we purchase them in advance. So ayan, saktong release date nandito na sa amin. Is the P9 still worth getting now this 2018? I think yes. Kahit sabihin natin na although it's powered by a Kirin 960, the advantages of the Kirin 970 over its predecessor, which is the 960, is pretty slim to be honest, and the difference can be neglected to a certain extent. And considering that the P9 has dropped price over time, I think it's still a good buy, to be honest. So 6:32 na pala. I'm sorry guys, it's already 6:32. I gotta start the podcast, and to start the podcast is I have to. Okay, so sa mga hindi nakakalam, what I'm going to basically do in this podcast is discuss what we have in our site for the past week. Not everything. Pipili lang ako ng specific articles, and later on may papakita ako na phone of the week of Manila Shaker, and preview nga rin, other than the news, mga video or other contents na nagawa namin, original contents. So let's start. And wait, I gotta shift this. Oh, there we go. So for the first one, was it last week? I believe it was last week. Yes, Blueboo contacted us. Well, they are a new competitor from China. Their S1 and S8 are basically available in Lazada right now. Pero hindi siya direct, as far as I'm concerned. It's not directly from them. It's from it's from a reseller. So we've made a review of one of the two phones that were given to us for review, the S8. So as you've ewan ko nakita ninyo, if you haven't read this, please do. It's basically a Samsung Galaxy S8 that costs around 7,100 pesos. And yeah, I'm gonna go through the specs real quick. So makita natin HD plus 18:9 display, 5.7 IPS LCD. It's quite heavy for being 200 grams, and Uh, yeah. Okay, here we go. The chipset MediaTek 6750T. If I'm not mistaken, this is the same one found in Oppo's F3 with a GH6 EMP2 GPU, a dual rear camera, but the purpose of the second one is just for what you call this again? It's not for anything in specific. It's not. Yeah, it's for bokeh. It's just for bokeh. That's why it's just 3 megapixel. It's just for selecting, and I believe it was just for the monochrome output for a more accurate subject selection. So 3 gig RAM, 32 gigs of internal storage, LTE with B bands up to B7, and surprisingly, it has a Type C port. So similar to the Samsung Galaxy S8. My first impressions while I was reviewing this was that uh, it's bad, to be honest. It's so bad that I don't think that people should buy it over other trusted brands and phones that's around the same price too, especially local manufacturers. Cherry Mobile, especially Cherry Mobile, they've been producing really good phones that are under 8K, 6K, and even 5K. And personally, I would prefer those over this one. Then again, Blueboo is not necessarily a new competitor, but uh, in the Philippine market, they are. They just came in, I think, last month. So yeah. So the display is pretty disappointing. It's akin to the Vivo V7s being 1440 by 720 and at 5.7 inches. And even though that it has an IPS LCD display, the colors were so uncalibrated and it just hurts the eyes. Wait, I gotta transfer something. Uh-huh. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I thought it'd be shown there too. Okay. So, as for the UI, it's an unidentified UI, but it's built on top of Android Nougat 7.0, the very first version of Nougat. It's very unoptimized, and the phone is not extremely sluggish, but you will feel the sluggishness of the phone as you are using it, even casually. And cameras, they're not really good. And for the performance, I don't know why it produced these results. I think it's possibly because that they tried pushing for Nougat instead of staying back to Marshmallow, or the 6750T wasn't just used well in terms of optimization for Nougat. For the battery, it actually has a larger battery than the Samsung Galaxy S8. It has a 3450 mAh battery pack. And nonetheless, it performed well enough. Excuse me. Considering that the phone has low-end components, and I suppose it is its strongest point. So my pros and cons for this phone was basically the pros. It's cheap. It's 7,099 right now at Banggood, the Chinese online retailer store, and it looks like an S8, except for the back. It has a dual rear camera that is on a vertical arrangement, with the fingerprint scanner actually being somewhere ergonomic. As for the cons, it's only buyable online and it's really unoptimized. It's an unoptimized method right now, but I believe that if they do get the ball rolling in terms of the software department, Blueboost phones can be good in the long run. Okay, next one. Oppo is about to release a 5G network. So what's 5G? So what 4G? If I'm not mistaken, the limit, well, networks has their own limits, but for the 5G, this is not similar to to your router, since I know that you've seen some routers, especially the modern ones, having dual bands 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. That's not the same. This is the fifth. This is the fifth generation of mobile networks, which are which operate in millimeter wave bands of 28, 38, and 60 hertz, 60 gigahertz rather, not hertz. And with the 5G standard, it is said by next generation mobile networks that data rates of tens of megabits per second for tens of thousands of users at the same time. And it's possible to have 1 gigabit per second simultaneously to many workers on the same office floor. I'm not sure if that's downstream or upstream. We'll see. But I doubt that the Philippines will be early to catch on to this technology or implement it. Well, this is the Philippines after all. And next is the very first phone to have an on-display, in-screen fingerprint scanner. Sorry, on display. That's pretty wrong. So this was teased. No, not teased. This was shown at CES 2018. If you followed that, it's basically the first phone that well, in the whole world, that Vivo made with the US based sensor maker Synaptics to make this possible. And I don't know if you've seen the videos, but basically it's not as fast as our regular fingerprint scanners, but it is something new that the market could catch on and adapt or improve even in the future. I think it's good. It lessens well, footprint in the way of design, but then again, there are some who have gotten used to the fingerprint scanner being on the back. I don't know about you, but if you're into the fingerprint scanner being on the back, oh, props to you, because we're in the same page. Wait, I gotta check again. Where's that? Do you think that the fingerprint scanner below the display will be the mainstream this 2018? No, I don't think so. It's going to take a lot of time before people catches on, and considering that more efficient and more effective unlock mechanisms, especially phase unlock, that was I don't know, improved and possibly perfected by OnePlus with OnePlus 5G. It's really hard to say. For your point of view, which is better, Huawei Mate 10 or OnePlus 5G? To be honest, OnePlus 5G. Huawei Mate 10 suffers similar issues that were found in the P10 and P10 Plus, which are, well, delayed response to touch, and it can be felt really bad, or rather really felt when using let's say using or playing rhythm based games. Excuse me. So let's move to our favorite manufacturer in terms of budget and mid-range phones. Mid-range phones. Xiaomi Redmi Note 5 specs and prices expected to launch at end of February. It's been said too that the well, there were already videos and renders of the Mi 7 going around in YouTube and everywhere around the internet itself, but the more budget-friendly Redmi Note series is going to have a successor, the Redmi Note 5, that will be equipped with Snapdragon 630 with a higher variant that will have a Snapdragon 636 with 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. And yeah, as we have mentioned here, it could feature a 5.99-inch display with 18:9 aspect ratio and likely to support FHD+, which is 1080 by 2160. For the cameras, it may feature a dual camera setup, a 16 megapixel primary sensor coupled with a 5 megapixel one. It will also have an 8 megapixel selfie snapper. For the price tag, it's going, well, the introductory price is 1499 Chinese yuan, which translates to $237. And when converted to peso, and this is converting it to, oh, great, Lightroom open. Converting to peso, it's going to be around 12,500 pesos. Can you compare the Oppo A57 and the new Oppo A83? Well, we can. Once it launches, we can ask Oppo for review units of the A57 and A83. That's a great suggestion, to be honest. Since the A57, as far as I remember, was really it was underwhelming. It was just that it barely had a place in the market. It felt more like a filler than an actual release of a smartphone. So, moving on, Samsung, as you have known maybe for some time now, is launching the S9 pretty soon and may possibly launch it on MWC at Barcelona, Spain. And there was a concept video made by TPS Designing, and it's about how the newer Samsung phones will look like. I don't think we have a link here. Yes, we don't. So they have a press event over at MWC for MWC for the S9 release, and so far there's not much to go on. I've gone through this last week, and it will have an Exynos 9810 chip with 4 gigs of RAM and a 6 gig RAM variant. Oh, time will tell. It's only a month away. We're almost finished with January. It's just a few weeks away. A few more winks and you wouldn't even feel like the S9 is already here. So, in the topic of smart speakers, Apple's HomePod is to arrive on February 9. Although this can only be purchased in Australia, the Great Britain, and the US of A. The device will soon be available in France and Germany too, somewhere around spring. I can't tell when exactly, but I expect it to be really soon. So, according to Apple, HomePod is a convenient way to send messages, set timers and reminders, check the weather, and listen to shows on Apple Podcasts. The latest business news, headlines, and sports updates stream directly to HomePod from NPR, yeah, my favorite channel, and other station, CNN, ESPN, and others. HomePod can also be used as speakerphone with iPhone for crisp and clear audio quality. As for the price tag, it's $349 US. It's pretty steep, I know. I mean, that's just for a smart speaker that you may not end up using 60% of the time. Okay, moving on. So in the Philippines, the Asus Zenfone Max Plus was released back in January 14. Yes, 14. Last Sunday. And well, I wasn't there, but there's basically a new ambassador for Zenfone Philippines. It's Budoy himself, or rather Gerald Anderson. And that's that. There's nothing much to go on around here. So if you're in the market for the A8 and A8 Plus, we have discussed here what's the difference between the two, what the A8 Plus, but what the A8 Plus has, but the A8 doesn't. Is a 6-inch Super AMOLED display with 2220 by 1080 pixels, 66 grams, 64 gigs of internal storage, and a 3500 mAh battery. So what's similar are the chipsets, the cameras, and the front-facing camera. That's basically it. As for the pricing, it's already released with the A8 variant at $26,990 and the Plus at $32,990. last year, as far as I remember, this the A, let's call this again, the A5 and A7 were at this range, but I can't complain really. This is Samsung after all. They have great after sales service. So somewhere along the line, I know that some really love the Google Pixel 2, although it does not retail locally. Some have it. We have one. I think it's absolutely the best phone, especially the XL1. You have the best of both worlds in terms of performance and camera. It's a walking powerhouse content creation machine, provided that you have proper supplementary or auxiliary devices or gadgets. And I don't know when was this released, but there's a Pixel 3 concept video that was outed with an 18:9 display, because the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL both had, wait, was it? No, it's just the Pixel 2 with a 16:9 display. As you can see, it's really, wait, a camera laptop. Hey, wait, that's weird. That's the Pixel 3 concept render. They have shown it, and it seems to have a metallic finish over the plastic backing that the Pixel 2 and XL had. I don't know. It still looks magnificent for me. To be honest, it's one of the phones that I wouldn't mind having, because it's just so good. Okay, wait. So that's that. There's still stereo setups, stereo speakers on the top and chin of the phone, and according to the video, it's said to have 6 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs of internal storage, and of course it will be powered by nothing other than the new Snapdragon 845. Well, it wasn't said explicitly, but that's where we're going. So if you have been seeing what's on my wrist, this was launched just last week. This is the Fitbit Ionic. This is their very first smartwatch, and it retails for around 15,600 pesos. It's not cheap. It's not for the faint of heart. And if you've known Fitbit, they are more known on making fitness trackers. You know, the likes of yeah, I don't have any. I'm not really a fitness guy. So yeah, if you've known Fitbit, as I've said, they're into the fitness trackers more back then. It was only last year that they ventured into the smartwatch category, and so far I have to say it's good for its price, for the what you call this, the features it provides, capabilities. It tracks your exercises. You can even have your own personal coach here. Well, it's not a really person coach, but a digital coach that will help you. But what somehow cut me off of this is the 2.5 gig of internal storage right here for the music. Although I think that's plentiful for a lot of people, and the fact that you can connect any Bluetooth headset to this smartwatch is really good. But Fitbit also offers what they call the Flyer. Do I have a picture here? Yes, here we go. The Flyer, which is their not natively supported headset, but it's there to be paired with the Fitbit Ionic on the go. So with this smartwatch, Fitbit has touted that it will last for 5 days, and so far I've been using it for 3 days. 3 days and running. 3 days, more than 3 days. And so far it's really good. Do expect a review soon, since we've been given one. As you can see, it's working really nice. It's one of the best watches I've ever had, and I think I'm going to compare it to one of the watches that we did a review of last year, which is the Huawei, to be exact, Huawei Amazfit Base. So, Xiaomi Surge S2. If you haven't been following Xiaomi very much, they have they had this venture into the chipset category, or the hardware category, not just phones, but the chipset too. And the Surge S1 was first found, or rather the first gen of the Xiaomi chipset was found in the Xiaomi Mi 5C. Performed really well, and they followed up with a Surge S2 that is expected to be announced, or at least shown to everyone who launched, or whatever Xiaomi has in their plans at MWC. The MWC, expect a lot of coverage, expect a lot of articles. It's just going to be one big event, and tech guys will be there, but yeah, we won't be there. So Facebook announced a new unit of time. When we've gotten used to milliseconds, seconds, picoseconds, nanoseconds, minutes, hours, days, years, Facebook has launched Flex, a unit of time slightly larger than a nanosecond that exactly subdivides media frame rates and sampling frequencies. I didn't understand any of that. So, it's defined as 1 over 705 million and 600 thousandths of a second. It's significantly larger than a nanosecond. So why did they do it? Flex are designed to help measure individual frame duration for video frame rates. So whether your video is 24, 55, 30, 48, 50, 60, 75, 90, 100, 120, you'll be able to use Flex to ensure that everything is in sync while still using whole integers. Oh, I get it now. So there's this thing when a video, supposedly, let's say a usual video, we capture videos at 30 FPS with our smartphones and cameras, and I don't know exactly what they did it for, but I believe that Flex was built with Oculus VR in mind. Well, it's mentioned here in the tweet itself, and the Oculus VR, if I'm not mistaken, can go up to 90 hertz. Well, it's built to be optimized at 90 hertz, but if you're going to view films which are generally 24 frames per second, and your home videos which are at 30 or 60, I think they're going for something like VSync, although not similar. I don't know. I'll research about this sometime soon. So, Huawei Nova 2S Akasha Red now available for pre-orders. Well, to break the news to you, it's just in China, because the Nova 2S itself is only available in China, and it's now available for pre-order on Vmall around $531 US. It's pretty expensive, although I don't think that if you're a fan of red colors like me, red guitar, red dice, red gamepad, red mic cable, what else, my in-ears, they're not exactly red, but they're wine red. I find them appealing, to be honest, although I don't know if it's still available for pre-order, because a lot of people may have already placed their orders on Vmall, but if you're up for one, go visit Vmall's site and have your pre-order placed for the Huawei Nova 2S. So Sony laptops, well, they haven't been in my radar for years, and as we mentioned here by Rain, Vaio is to launch new high-end laptops with Intel 8 Gen or Coffee Lake CPUs. There are only two Vaios. Well, this is, yeah, sorry, I forgot. Sony has no share in Vaio anymore, so Vaio is basically by themselves right now, and they have two ultrabooks that are coming, the S11 and S13. Oh, wait, what's this? How does Xiaomi maintain a lower price phone without sacrificing performance? They only release the phones in China. Yun yung ano ng Xiaomi, and they don't need marketing. They don't even have to spend money on marketing since they're widely known already. And as for what else, that's basically it. Xiaomi doesn't need further promotion to sell phones, and since their phones are manufactured in China, distributed in China, and sold in China, the price itself of the phones gets really low compared to the competitors, which go for a global release with global ROMs. And as you've seen, the Xiaomi's that are bought globally don't have official ROMs. They only have tempered global ROMs, which are not necessarily bad, but in a way of over-the-air updates, it just wouldn't have one. Seriously, why does the Asus Zenfone Max doesn't have fast charging? I don't know. Ask Asus themselves. Okay. Wait. And going back, S11 will be a really small ultrabook, sub 12-inch monitor, and the S13 will be at a 14-inch form factor. They will have the i5 82250U and i7 8550U respectively. As for their CPUs, it's claimed by Vaio themselves that the S11 will have 15 hours of battery life, while the S13 would last for up to 12 hours on a single charge. 3 USB 3 ports, an HDMI, I expect it to be not a full one, an SD card reader, and 4G LTE, but I hope sorry, that they include a Thunderbolt port, since this is Coffee Lake already. For the price, it's said to be starting from 1,365. It's pretty steep, to be honest. And in the Philippine community of commuting, LTFRB has officially limited Uber and Grab vehicles to 45,000. Well, total last year, Grab and Uber had over 100,000 drivers combined, and Uber revealed that it has 66,000 partner drivers, while Grab had 52. Although not all are active, not every Grab and Uber driver that you get a ride on drives their car on a daily basis to pay for it and earn for their family. That's the thing. And it is said here, we have steered away from the exclusivity of the TNVs. If you are granted a franchise, you can seek accreditation in any TNC. Gauging on what they gave us, we arrived at with these numbers. I don't know. And the 45,000 number that I have mentioned is just for Metro Manila. For Metro Cebu, it's 500 cars only and 200 in Pampanga. I don't know how this is going to affect the majority of the drivers who don't really drive Uber, Grab on a daily basis, but we'll see. So I think this is the last article already. Vivo X20 Plus. It's not the one to look at. It's the same. Okay, before we get to our Q&A portion, if you have any questions, do write them or type them somewhere first, as I can't read all the comments at the same time since I only have one monitor at the moment. I haven't bought a second one, and it would be great if you have any clarifications that you want to be made. For the meantime, I'm going to get our phone of the week. Okay, phone of the week. Change the camera again. Phone of the week is an LG phone. It's a flagship phone, so it's the V30. Why the V30? Well, I'm going to put it up real close to you guys. Okay, why the V30? The V30 Plus is basically a wet dream for a lot of audiophiles, and as for me, who has a lot of FLAC audio, music, and even some demos and recordings that I have, I go over them many times on a daily basis, so that whenever we're going on post-production, it's easier to make changes and I can already make informed decisions beforehand. And it retails for, if I'm not mistaken, how much again? 42,000 pesos. It's got, oh, a lot of things. 128 gigs of storage, is 6 gigs of RAM. No, it's just 4 gigs of RAM, and a pretty decent display, as you can see here. If you haven't seen a review, not a we reviewed this, if I'm not mistaken, the same exact unit. If you haven't seen it, do watch it. It's just an amazing phone overall. I think the only downside that it had were the cameras. So if you're a camera guy like me, I'm a camera guy myself. If you're a camera guy, it's not going to be satisfying in a lot of scenarios, especially in moments that you like shooting in manual more than auto. But for the video, it's really amazing. The Cinelog format is pretty amazing to edit on if you're also a video editor like me, who likes color grading and putting specific tones and emotions on a video. So that's it. Our phone again of the week is the LG V30 Plus. If you have any questions, do ask them now, since I'm about to end the stream too. Okay, ito. Kailan po kaya ilalabas ang Nokia 6 2018? For our international viewers, Mark Atienza here has asked, when will Nokia 6 2018 be released? I don't know when, to be honest, since it's possible that Nokia will be at MWC2 at Barcelona this February. Basically, what's going to be shown in MWC will be the general direction for the rest of the year, and if there's going to be a hidden, or rather an unannounced launch or leak or anything, it's going to be really minute. There's nothing new or really exciting this year in terms of in the tech world of smartphones. So Manayon Sawat, hi, what's up? Doing fine. Well, I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes to ask questions. Podcast. Sometimes it feels really weird doing a podcast and you're just reading comments, talking to yourself technically most of the time, and it feels weird. Yeah, just for me. I don't know about you guys. Okay, a minute more. I'm going to be waiting. Again, if you also have Monster Hunter World, it's a pretty great game. Let me get the the game container. It's a great game because for years, Hunter has been on Nintendo consoles, specifically the 3DS, the Wii U, and it was just only for this season that it was released to it was released on the PS4 and the Xbox One and the PC soon on fall for us PC enthusiasts here. It's just that I can't wait anymore to wait for Monster Hunter World to come on PC. So I bought a PS4 Pro. It's somewhat a sudden expense, but I would say it's pretty worth every cent of it since I haven't played much of PS4 titles other than Gran Turismo. And now I have a chance to explore other PS4 games, especially the ones that have been recently released, like Horizon New Dawn. I hear it's really great, and considering that God of War is releasing in April and Dissidia on the 30th, it's really a great time to own a PS4. Considering that most, especially the old ones, the fat can sell for under $300 here in the Philippines, or under 15,000. I have seen some sell it at 13,000. Relatively new, 2 months use, 1 month use, so you can be rest assured that it functions fully. So if you're not much of a pet peeve, or if you don't have much of a pet peeve when it comes to second-hand gadgets, consoles, or accessories in general, I suggest that you go grab a PS4 because it's a great time to have one right now. So it's past this minute that I've mentioned. Okay, I'm going to answer this now. What is the camera that you're using now? I don't have a mirror, but I'm going to tell you nonetheless that I'm only using a Canon 70D right now as my camera. Wait, we gotta use the front. You think I'm lying? No, I'm using it. It's not even routed through a capture card. It's only via USB. As you can see, it's somewhere here. The one I'm touching right now. And it got disconnected. That's funny. Okay. Relaunching it. The application that I'm using launched. I'm only feeding from the camera's viewfinder. Oh gosh. Okay. Basically, I lost connection to my camera. Okay, here we go. So again, it's the 70D, Canon 70D, and it's only connected via USB to my PC, and I'm using EOS camera movie record to get the video output from the viewfinder. Nintendo Switch or PS4 depends on what games you are into. If you're into Super Mario and Zelda and Legend of Zelda and the like, go for Nintendo Switch, and it's built for multiplayer gaming more compared to the PS4 nowadays. Most of the games that PS4 has right now, rather the recent ones, don't have couch co-op. A few, but not all. But still, it depends. It depends what you're into more. If you're into God of War, Crash Bandicoot, the Uncharted series, Monster Hunter World, this is the biggest selling point that's been on the PS4 for the past 4 years that it has existed. I'd say go for the PS4. Okay, so I'm about to end this now. This stream is ending now. Okay. So guys, see you next week again on our third podcast. Hopefully I will be able to add additional layers here in backgrounds because it's really boring, and I know some of you may like having background music, but I choose not to avoid potential strikes. But Spotify is there and they have a playlist I should have used earlier, and now I'm sorry. And okay, as always, this has been Caesar Manila Shaker, and thank you for watching our second podcast. We're pretty new to this, but if you have any suggestions or if you like uh, some changes to be made, do comment it at the video once it's re-uploaded by YouTube. And thank you for watching, as I mentioned. See you in the next one. Have a good day. And now I go back to Solidarity and play Solitude rather, and play Monster.